about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. Nope.
Y'all, just
This
stop.
is a sham.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Tuesday, everybody. So, Erica, is your birthday Super Bowl weekend officially over?
Whew, yes, my parents left this morning at like super early, like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I woke up just to say bye to them, and I was like, well, the festivities are over.
It makes it a little easier,
sad.
too, though, because you're like, I love you, but just, you know, and then you don't cry, right? I always make like a joke, like, I'm going to see you in like 2 months, right? And then you don't fight back a tear or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Don't want to show emotion with your family. That'd be crazy.
Right. Yeah, that'd be insane to show my weakness. I love you, Mom and Dad. All right, so, and everybody else. Let's get to some Oscars talk. The Oscars will not have one, not have two, but they'll have 3 hosts this year. The Academy announced that on March 27. Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes will share the hosting duties. Another change, the Oscar is opening up the voting to fans. It introduced a fan favorite award. People vote on their pick on Twitter using the hashtag OscarsFanFavorite. Seems very organized. The film the film with the most votes will be recognized at this year's event, but get this, 3 fans will also be selected to attend next year's Oscars and will get a chance to present an award too. I wonder if they get a gift bag.
Oh,
That's the real question.
Yeah.
I like that. That's right where your mind went. Because I should have thought about that. That's great. I think this is smart. You have to kind of change with the times. And this idea that like you're stoic and there's tradition. It's tradition for you. Tradition for your parents, maybe tradition for our generation, but every generation kind of sets their own tradition to kind of go along with what's already been happening. And I like that now some of the movies that people liked will be represented. So I think it's a good move.
I like the fan favorite a lot. I think it'll achieve what they want, which is interactive. You really want someone to be engaged. That's what they want, engagement, and they're not really grabbing that. I don't know about the 3 hosts, and I wondered what you guys think. You know Amy, right?
Yes.
Schumer. And I don't mean, I like Amy. I think she's a really funny, I don't know her, but I think she's very funny, very talented, very good. There was this time in which Amy Schumer was like overexposed, which I always found a bit misogynistic, but whatever. What audience is Amy bringing in? Because to me, I was like, why not just let Wanda Sykes host the whole thing?
I mean, Wanda would be great, but I think Amy brings another demo, and that's
like, what's that demo?
Well, now she's gone from this. If she's kind of. You know, and I don't want to talk out of school here, I feel like she's gone through the transformation that her audience has. In her 20s, she was kind of fun. I used to hang out with Amy, drinking, having fun, telling jokes at night, and kind of became this global phenomenon. And once she did, she became very transparent with a difficult pregnancy.
Endometriosis.
Endometriosis. And I think she then started representing that group of young people that then started having children, and it wasn't always perfect. She married a guy that had autism. She talks about that. So I think her brand has opened up a lot. So I think she's going to bring in a lot more eyeballs, but that's just speculation.
Well, I agree. I also agree that Wanda Sykes is fantastic. Love me some Wanda. But y'all sleeping on Regina Hall.
I know, she's going to be
Y'all are
great.
sleeping on Regina Hall.
Talk
I think
to us.
the 3 of them together are going to be amazing. Regina, she had this viral video when she turned 50, and it was like, a bleep is old today. It was hilarious. If you have not seen it, you have to check it out. But in terms of her acting, like, she came on the scene really in like these like spoof parody type of movies. You know, it was very like, you know, a little bit more of a lighthearted role. But if y'all haven't seen her in 9 Perfect Strangers on HBO, Regina is just getting into her groove. So she is the perfect person to bring all of this together. I think the 3 of them are going to be fantastic. I think that they're going to be
really
reoccurring. They're going to be so great. We're going to see them more than once.
I'm interested to see the numbers, how they match up, and who's still interested in the Oscars and moving forward. Yeah, no matter who you put in there, I'm just interested. All right, so speaking of interested, there's more drama in the never-ending Kim and Kanye saga. Kanye seems determined to get Kim back by going to extremes. So yesterday, if you weren't aware, he posted and then deleted an image of a truck full of roses that he allegedly sent to Kim's home, and written on the side of the truck was, "My vision is crystal clear," with 2 Ks. Kim and Kanye, huh? Look at my detective duties. He also shared a screenshot of an alleged text sent to him from Kim asking to stop putting her boyfriend Pete Davidson in danger by taking shots at him on social media. It's not over. Kanye then responded with another post of a man putting another man in a chokehold and wrote, quote, "Upon my wife's request, please nobody do anything physical to Pete." He called him a different name, but I'm going to handle this situation myself. All right, I need to get some oxygen. You guys go.
People laughed when I said it's going to get dangerous when he bought the house across the street without her, what we think is alleged permission. This is getting to be a weird, somewhat abusive relationship in public.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really not funny. It's scary, and people are listening. And I find this to be crossing over to dangerous. I really do.
I want to gauge your comfort level before we talk about this, but I know you've dealt with some enthusiastic people that were looking for your attention.
Yes.
You know, and so, like, how does this hit you?
Well, I said yesterday that I'm really scared about how we're talking about this story because it's Kim and Kanye, and we're used to their life being open for entertainment, scrutiny, and also they've been tastemakers in our pop culture. So some of us are looking at this like, oh, this is just another Kim and Kanye show.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't believe it to be that. I think that this is a very dangerous message depending on how we react to it, because there is inevitably going to be a 16-year-old watching this go down and be like, my boyfriend or my ex-boyfriend loves me as much as Kanye loves Kim, and that's romanticized. And I think the thing that we really learned about the Rihanna-Chris Brown situation was the way that was handled was also an open invite or an open interpretation for a lot of other people who are modeling their relationships after them. And that's why it was so important, like, to see the rise of Rihanna and everything she was able to do, because it really set a tone for other people. And I think this situation is setting a tone for other people as well. So I think we should all be very careful.
I agree with you.
About how we're
just
reacting
the violent
to
images. I didn't like that. It just
Didn't
seems,
like that.
It just looks like it's transitioning into something, and it's weird up until it's scary. And I feel like we're walking down. I feel like we're going to be talking about this in another couple weeks, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know how this, because it just keeps escalating.
AKA tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to this next story. Supermodel Naomi Campbell is opening up about being a new mom. Naomi, who is 51, was on the latest cover of British Vogue with her 9-month-old daughter. When asked how she came to be a mom at 50, Naomi said that her daughter wasn't adopted, that she's her child. She said she could count on one hand the number of people who knew she was having a baby. She also calls motherhood the biggest blessing and best thing that she has ever done. Naomi is not bothered by her age and is even encouraging her older friends to have babies too. So I wasn't looking down when she said that she didn't adopt, that baby's hers, that she birthed the child. Is that what we...
Well, she didn't say that.
We don't
So we don't know that.
No.
We don't know. I
If it's
wasn't
a
looking at the
surrogate,
pictures.
exactly.
I didn't know if there was a picture
We don't
like
know.
that.
But some people are claiming, oh, it's adopted, and she's saying, no, whatever it is, surrogacy or however you want to be a mom, this is her genetics in this child. Not that that's wrong or anything to adopt, but she's putting the record straight. I don't know. Don't get into people's bedrooms and their babies and their business.
I think this is just incredibly empowering, because there are just certain women, and I would say myself included, that there was this whole list that I needed to have fulfilled in order to even start having the conversation about becoming a mom. And I'm just getting to the point where that conversation is a real conversation. I'm 41.
Yeah.
And I have everybody in society telling me, like, okay, you waited too late, or, whatever. But to make these moves, I mean, I look at Gabrielle Union,
Janet
I look at
Jackson.
Candy Burris, Janet Jackson, Tyra Banks, and they completed their list and they were still able to have their family. So I don't know if it matters how old you are. I think it matters when you're truly ready to be all of the totality of who you are.
I think well, we're out of time. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Roseanne's daughter, Jenny Pentland. She talks about the trauma she experienced as a child and what her relationship is like with Roseanne now.
Closed captioning provided by
When we
All right, so Jeff, you were saying something. Like,
Yeah, I wish we had
up.
some more upbeat stories. These were kind of like, hey, Yeah. But I think it does matter
Bummer town.
in Naomi's case, because she's 50 and she's encouraging people to do the same. She's not saying how she had the birth. People might misinterpret how she's having that, and they don't have the means Naomi, Janet, all these other women have. So to encourage people at 50 to have a child and not disclose how you had that child or the means, how much it costs to have that child, I don't know. That's where I kind of would push back a little.
But
on
I
that
think
story.
the important part about that particular point is she said she's encouraging her friends to do the same. She didn't say she's encouraging everyone to do the same. And I think that if you're someone who is in that position, especially for me, like, I can deduce, that it probably took some level of resource. But
sure.
also when you're making decisions like this as a woman who is, career business minded, or you're putting other priorities ahead of itself, you're also kind of preparing for that inevitability of resource as well. So I think when she's having this or speaking out, she's speaking to a certain population. I would say she's definitely speaking to me.
Right,
but she's not speaking to everyone.
But she should be more specific.
But she said her friends, though. She didn't say everyone.
And age too. When listen, I'm 43, I have 2 kids running around, you're not in your 30s anymore.
Yeah.
And then 50, vice versa, and 60. You have to look at that. I understand everybody wants to do it at their own speed, but there is a time limit,
Yeah.
I think, on
I
some
think it's
things.
also cultural too, because so
gotta
many
do
of
this.
us have grandparents and great grandparents who actually act as the primary caregiver.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not as though being 50 years old
hadn't
means
thought about
that
that.
you can't be a parent to a child.
I'd never thought about that.
I don't
It's
even
so
know
common
how
that-
rare that is.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
so
like
common.
very, very
And an
common.
East Asian.
Welcome back to DBL. Roseanne's daughter is telling all about her life growing up in the shadow of a celebrity and the trauma she experienced as a kid. Earlier, Jenny Pentland told us all about some incredible stories from her childhood. Let's take a look.
Please welcome to the show author of This Will Be Funny Later, Jenny Pentland.
Hi, Jenny.
Your transparency is so appreciated. A lot of people are just curious, right? And your memoir chronicles your life as the daughter of a celebrity. What is the biggest misconception that fans have about your mom, Roseanne?
I think the biggest misconception is that she's Roseanne Connor and not Roseanne Barr, and that she's a PG version of a human being that's got fewer dimensions than she actually does. I think that's probably the biggest misconception.
So something happened around the age of 13 that really was pivotal in your life. What changed you at that time?
When I was 13, like right after the first season of Roseanne aired, me and my sister were both sent away to a bunch of different facilities for the next 5 years. From 13 to 18, I was in various placements. I think like 9 different placements, and my sister was in 11. And that was pretty pivotal.
Wow.
Wait, I'm sorry, I have to follow up.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, as a new parent myself, what do you mean by different facilities and placements, if you don't mind clarifying? I'm just curious.
I don't mind. Some of them were like rehab, some of them were mental institutions, some of them were wilderness survival programs. One was a reform school that was like, I guess they call it therapeutic boarding school now. And was a 2.5-year program based on Synanon, the cult. I'm sure you can Google the intense, yeah.
Wow. Jenny, I'm just curious, how did you find out about your parents' divorce?
My friend at school, well, she wasn't my friend, a girl I did not like at school before met me. She came to me one day and she was real excited to say something to me, and I was like, she told me my parents were getting divorced, and I was like, you're so dumb, you believe everything you read in the tabloids. And then I went home and my parents told me that it was true that the tabloids recorded conversations of theirs and paid people off to get the story. So she knew, tabloids knew before I knew.
That's got to be an awful, awful feeling. This is super relatable for a lot of our audience. In your book, you say that you and your siblings were treated like pawns during your parents' divorce. Jenny, tell us and describe in what ways you were used against each other and against the divorce as well. I think people will really understand this.
Well, I think the lawyers, you know, they stood to make a lot of money off of the longer litigations took and the longer everything was drawn out. So anytime that there would have been resolution that my parents maybe could have worked together to resolve something on their own, it was encouraged that they don't, and that they have the experts or people help them. So anything that we did, like if our nails were dirty, if we had gained weight at one parent's house, if our clothes weren't clean when we came over, just literally anything we did, my parents weren't kind of write down and turn into the lawyers, and the lawyers would compile that information and use it to get things they wanted. Yeah.
As you chronicled your life, was it cathartic for you? Was it traumatic to reopen those wounds? What would the adult version of you say to your younger self, that 13-year-old self?
It was both cathartic and traumatic, and I think a lot of things are both at the same time. I don't know that I could say anything to myself then. Maybe just wait it out, hold on, you'll be okay eventually. Or, you know, I don't think I could have said anything at that point. There's nothing to say to a kid in that situation.
Well, we will be right back with more of our conversation with Jenny and what her relationship with her mom, Roseanne, is like now. Thank you, Jenny. We'll see you soon right after this.
We all know that movement
Stimulus payments were a lifeline to millions of Americans during the pandemic, and every time the Treasury mailed out those checks and deposits, we received email after email from some of you asking, "Where's my check?" On social media, some of you claim you can still collect that money through your taxes. So let's verify. If you think you're owed more stimulus money than you got, is there a way to get the remainder when you file your taxes? Our sources, the IRS website and spokesperson Luis Garcia and Henry Grez of the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Let's start with the third stimulus, the most recent one. The IRS says if you're eligible and didn't get one or didn't get the full amount, you can claim something called the Recovery Rebate Credit when you file your taxes.
The Recovery Rebate Credit is a way to reconcile with the amount that you were actually owed and the amount you received, so that if there's more coming your way, you'll get it through that Recovery Rebate Credit when you file your return.
If you don't remember how much you got, check your IRS online account or check your mailbox for a letter by the IRS for this purpose. It's called Letter 6475.
If you don't fill out that worksheet, the IRS isn't going to do it for you. So you need to fill out the worksheet and make sure you put the proper numbers in there.
Our experts say if you don't ordinarily file a tax return, you should go ahead and do it. You may be able to get that stimulus payment retroactively if you missed out. Now let's say you still haven't got all your money from your first and second payment. The IRS says don't claim any of that on your 2021 taxes. That's info you should have included on your 2020 return. If you want to try and still get it, the IRS says file a 2020 tax return if you haven't already, or amend your 2020 tax return if it's already been processed. So we can verify, yes, there is a way to get your stimulus money by filing taxes. With Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to our conversation with Jenny Pentland, daughter of Roseanne, and talking with us live about her new book, This Will Be Funny Later. Okay, so I know that you open up about your book and you say some was cathartic, some was traumatic. What was the most traumatic moment of your childhood, and do you go into detail in your book?
I think, there was a lot there, but there was a moment that I think was pivotal to everything and kind of sent shockwaves backwards and forwards. Was when I was in the second facility that I was in, and a staff member there told me that the reason I was there was because I had really, really good mental health insurance policy.
Wow.
He told me I was worth $1 million a year because I was asking him why I was in there, like, how come I'm in here longer than anybody else? And that was the reason he gave me. And it really, trying to do the math on that when you're 14, oh, wait, they're making money off of me. So,
wow.
Mental health care profiting off of people, that's hard to understand anyway, but for a 14-year-old to understand, I think that was a huge wake-up moment for me.
Wow. I have chills. I mean, Jenny, has enough time passed for your experiences to live up to the title of your book? Are they funny to you now?
Everything's funny, and nothing's funny. Like, yeah, I was funny then, and it's funny now, and it's also not funny at all. But that's just how my brain works, I guess. I don't know.
I definitely related to that title. I know what you mean, and I know it's funny and not funny at the exact same time, so I appreciated that. This industry that preys on at-risk children still exists, okay? Let's talk action. In some cases, these kids are exploited for entertainment on TV. What do you think, having lived that, needs to change to stop it from happening?
Any profiting off of human lives, human suffering, human health, any profiting off of suffering and misery, and that's not an attempt to help. It's just not. Like the entertainment shows, the TV shows that like Dr. Phil profiting off of, like, if you're profiting, you're not, like, you can't be in the same category as somebody who's actually out there helping. I'm not talking about taking a paycheck from, to take care of yourself. I'm talking about real profiting, advertising, drug companies, all of it, the real profiting that happens. And that they are still happening now. A lot of them are still happening. What happens is they get sued out of business, and they open under a different umbrella name, and there's still a ton of them out there right now.
Wow.
I'm captivated by your story. A part of it is just breaking my heart. But at the end of it, it's so perplexing because there's this duality as someone on the outside of someone who looks at you, and especially when you were younger, I'm sure people were hating on you because you were the daughter of a celebrity and they anticipated that your life looked this certain way. And it was very much the opposite. You were like in a golden cage. So what is that weird juxtaposition like, to have people have a perception of your life when your life is so polar opposite?
It's really lonely. It's such a lonely like existence and feeling that, have people feel like, oh, I'm jealous. People who are jealous, and you're like, of what? Me being locked up for 5 years, like, what exactly are you jealous of? And or the money too, like a lot of people thinking that money's going to solve problems, and it hasn't solved any of mine. I haven't seen any of it. There's a lot of illusion around celebrity, and because I'm not a celebrity and I'm kind of just fame adjacent or celebrity adjacent, it's a completely different thing, because people usually want to step over you to get to the real celebrity, and at the same time you're held to the same standards and expectations and all that. And my life is nothing like what people think, and a lot of people who get to know me say, you're nothing like I thought you would be. And that's kind of a compliment, but it's also a comment on how we judge people without knowing them, or just based on what little information that we have without talking to them.
So Jenny, what's your relationship like now with your mom, Roseanne Barr, and has she read your book?
I think she read it. We don't really talk about those kind of things too much in our family, just because we're a family first and foremost, and we get together, we go to dinner, we play with each other's kids, and that kind of thing. Those conversations don't come up as much as you think that they would. But we have a decent relationship. It's a mother-daughter relationship. That's how I explain it, because I think that tells about how complicated and multidimensional it is. But we love each other very much, and we have each other's best interests at heart at all times.
Jenny, thank you so much for your honesty and your insightful words. For everyone at home, if you want to know more about Jenny's story, check out her book, This Will Be Funny Later, a memoir, out now. Thank you, Jenny. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by Suffer.
You may have gotten emails or seen it on the internet. You can check your credit score for free, but some are wondering if that will hurt your credit. So the question, if your credit score is checked, will it always hurt your credit? Let's verify. Our source is Mark Henry, CEO of Alloy Wealth Management. Denitha Doe, writer at Clever, an agent matching service platform for people looking for realtors, and Credit Karma. Both Henry and Doe tell us there are two ways to check your credit score.
When your credit score is checked, it's either soft or hard.
Both of them say soft inquiries will not hurt your credit score, and they actually recommend it.
Soft inquiries like checking your own credit score, or if an institution is pre-approving you for a loan, is considered soft, and it won't impact your credit score.
Credit Karma lists the differences between hard and soft inquiries. Soft inquiries include checking your credit score yourself, pre-qualified for credit card offers, pre-qualified insurance quotes, and employment verifications like background checks. These soft inquiries will not hurt your score. However, hard inquiries can.
When you actually apply for that credit card or the offer you've received, that is going to be a hard inquiry.
A hard inquiry is when anytime your credit score is being checked with the intention of giving you credit. And it will impact your score, but it'll be negligible, usually less than 5 points.
Some hard inquiries listed on Credit Karma's site include mortgage applications, auto loan applications, credit card applications, student loan applications, personal loan applications, and apartment rental applications. So we can verify that no, if your credit score is checked, it will not always hurt your credit. If it is a soft inquiry, that will not affect your score. However, if you are applying for credit or a loan in some way, a hard inquiry can bring your credit score down. Although Doe says you usually gain those points back in just a few months. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Verify here with your Fast Fact. Everyone loves a good deal, especially when it comes to prescription drug prices. Verified viewer K spotted posts claiming Mark Cuban launched an online pharmacy that offers some eye-popping savings and wants to know if Cuban really started his own drugstore. So K, let's verify. We checked with these sources for an answer. The name of the company is Mark Cuban Cost Plus Drug Company. Cuban tweeted about the venture, and the retailer confirms he is an investor. Business records show it's actually a rebrand of an existing wholesale company. They negotiate prescription drug prices with manufacturers and then work with an accredited pharmacy called TruePill to send medication to customers. So it's true. Mark Cuban did start his own drugstore. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. February is American Heart Month, and we're taking a look at ways to reduce our risk of heart disease. That's today's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. 20 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise a day can lower your risk of heart disease. Studies show people aged 70 to 75 who exercise have much lower chances of developing heart disease. But people aged 80 and up who started exercising did not see as much improvement. QB is a great way to get some quick exercise. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-556-2089 or visit QB.com to learn more. Keep it moving.
That's right.
See you tomorrow.